Greetings viewers, EricTheCarGuy. Today, I want to fix this. Yeah, it doesn't latch. It's my 2007 Mini Cooper S, also known as an R56. Let's find out why this is doing this and fix it before the end of the video. Now, one thing I'm noticing right off the bat is I do have a little bit of damage back here, and that leads me to wonder if somehow there'd been some collision or something back here. I'm not really sure. But I'm fairly certain the issue is involved with the latch here. So I think the first thing we'll do is just get a look in here, remove the plastic. I think if you pull out the center, the other piece should follow. There we go. Looks like there's others on each side. Yeah, there were a couple of additional clips in here that I needed to also think about. This is what we have when we remove the cover. It looks like an electrical actuator assembly, but what's even more interesting is this piece here, which, well, does it come? Yeah, it comes off. It looks like, yeah, that there's some sort of mechanical release here, and this is some kind of cable, I suspect. I wonder if that's coming into play or not. More research is required. Also looks like this may come apart, and if it does, I might go in there and see if it's just an issue with some contacts and stuff like that. I suspect the problem is here inside the latch. I don't think it would be involved with the wiring, but it still could be. So I think the first thing I'll do is first do a little bit of research and also see if I can find if there's a switch or lever or something that goes with this part of the assembly. Just for the heck of it, I grabbed the key fob and decided to start playing with stuff just so I could observe, you know, lock and unlock and all that. So when I unlock, I don't see any movement. When I lock, I don't see any movement, but I hear things happening. However, when I hold down the hatch release, so it can receive, I suspect, the way it's looking like something's bound up in here. Is what it looks like, because this doesn't look all the way over to one side. It looks like it's struggling there. I'm going to remove this and just have a look inside, but before I do, this mount can move around. So you want to make sure you get it mounted back in the same place or else it may not latch properly. So I'm just going to take this marker, this is all under that cover that we saw, and just sort of mark its location before I loosen the fasteners. This way, when I put it back on, it goes back on in the same place. These are T30. Disconnect the electrical connection. Well, that's interesting. The light just went out in here when I disconnected this. So it does sense that it's open, which says to me that I'm on the right track here. You know how this sort of comes apart. So we'll just leave that to the side. And once again, these are T30s. I'm going to try and get a look inside here, see if I can understand its operation. Looks like this back cover just pops off. Simple motor assembly. Oh wow, it looks like this motor assembly is separate and serviceable. That's kind of interesting. The gears look okay, but it's binding. So this is what the motor turns. The motor sits down in here like this, and as it rotates, it will cause this gear to rotate, and this gear goes part way and stops in both directions. And I suspect that is the root of our problem here. And it looks like this is also a part of the mechanism down inside there. I'm going to simulate the latch so that it comes down like that and it's supposed to click. And now this freewheels inside, except for it seems to activate that lever out here. Ah, there it is. That just unlatched. So click, and then rotate. Yeah, You can see it move. I'm rotating that gear on the inside and then it releases. I mean, this seems to work. I don't know if just messing with it did something or not, but at least this way you have an idea what's inside here. Just gonna put this back together. By the key, I'm gonna depress it. Looks like it's working now. Latched, unlatched, latched, unlatched. Everything seems to be functioning. The button's not working. The button on the remote works, but this button here does not. I think the next step would be to come in here and get a look at this switch, because this switch is obviously supposed to send a signal somewhere. So if the switch is inoperative, then I know that's what the issue is. It looks like there's 4 fasteners. So there's one there, one there, one there, and one there, and this whole cover comes down. So that's what I'm going to remove next. And these fasteners are T20s. Good, I don't have to remove that license plate deal. Ooh, one connector for all of it. I'm gonna need 2 hands for this, but you see the connector. So yeah, it is an electrical connector. And yes, I'm also having a great deal of difficulty figuring out. I mean, here's part that looks like where I depress, yet nothing's happening. What combination of tongue holding do I need to do to release you? It just finally came apart. I was depressing this all day long. There's that tab there. Yet it wasn't releasing, and then finally it did. And I'm not sure what did the trick, to be honest with you. I just know that this is going to take a minute. But this is all loose inside here, feeling like it's broken. That may be the problem. Let's go to the bench. There's 3 wires here. I need to get a wiring diagram or whatever, find out what the deal is with that. I suspect that I'm going to have to get this whole piece. Well, I decided to do a little experimenting. With this off of here, if this wire goes down inside of here, it's lost. So I put this little clamp on to keep it from going down in there. But I decided to do just a little experiment with these wires in here and my power probe. So if I back probe these, the first one gives me power, but I know it's not 12 volts because I don't hear a buzz. The second one, there's nothing. And the third one, there's a ground. So this is a low voltage circuit. I'm pretty sure of it. I don't know what the volts are, but if it was 12 volts, I would get like a screaming thing. In this middle section here, I get nothing. So I suspect that that middle one is for the wires, or for the lighting. And these outer 2 are for the switch. So blue, reds and blue, that's going to be, I think, the power going to it, to the switch. The center one, I believe, is white lighting, and that's white. Looks like it's got a little red stripe on it. And then the last one is just, looks like a brown or a tan. So the last one is tan, and that's the ground, or that's the ground. Now, to experiment to see if this middle one is lighting, I'm going to turn on the parking lights, and then if I get power here, I'm going to assume that that's correct, because this would be the path to ground, I think, for that, since this is a definite path to ground. So I'm going to turn the lights on. I've already put the key in. Just the parking lights is all I need. So the parking lights are on. And now I'm going to check the center one, which I have power now, and that's 12 volts. And those bulbs that were in that assembly are 12 volt bulbs. So I got power here and ground here that I'm certain is for the lighting. I think this is the power for the switch, and this is the ground. Therefore, you need a power and a ground for something to work. If I apply ground to this power side, I suspect the door will open. So ground, and it worked. So I can conclude that my switch is the problem with that. So I need to order that assembly, and hopefully it comes with not only the switch but also the lights as well. And we're back. As you can see, things got shiny while I was gone, but I do have my new part. I also thought of a new test that you could do that doesn't really require many tools to check the operation, well, check the integrity of the wires and connectors up to this point for the latch. What the switch does is it basically creates a connection between the outer two wires. So you can bypass that, but be very sure not to incorporate the middle one into this. But I've taken 2 stick pins and just bridge the gap between the two. And if you hear the latch click, then you know everything's good. Which it did. I'm going to share something else with you that I've discovered. Remember the initial problem when I would try to close it and it wouldn't stay closed? Well, it's doing it now. But if it only closes part way, it doesn't latch. So what I've found to fix this, you don't even have to go through all this trouble that I went through. If it's just doing that, is just come in, I have a Phillips head screwdriver, activate the latch. You may need to unlatch it first. Okay, unlatched. Activate the latch with a screwdriver until it clicks. Unlatch it. And it should work again. So it seems to be kind of finicky, but that seems to be the fix. Well, as I said, I got my new part in. Here's my old one. Now, it doesn't come with this outer skin, so if you really want this body color, you're gonna have to swap this over. Here's the part number. But the one that I was able to find just has a chrome finished, and I'm fine with that. In fact, I think it brightens up the back. Let's take this over to the vehicle, plug it in, check the operation of the switch, make sure it works. If it does, we'll fasten it down, and we'll be done with this repair. Here's the new part. I'm just going to plug it in. And it works. Just make sure the connector is fully seated. I've removed my little holder. I'll just push this up on here. And I'll run the fasteners back in. Once again, these were T20s. You might socket back. It works again. I think it looks really nice. It's nice to be able to do that again. I hope this information in this video was helpful to you if you're having a problem with the rear hatch latch on your Mini. I'll put links in the description to any of the parts I used. Also, additional information could possibly assist you with this job. Additionally, there will be links in the description to other videos in the Mini series. I've done quite a bit of work on this car, so if you have a similar vehicle, that could help you. Just to reiterate, this is a 2007 Mini Cooper S, also known as an R56. However, I believe the information in this video will also apply to other Minis with a similar hatch design. Linked in the description will also be EricTheCarGuy.com, which is where I ask you go if you have additional questions not covered in this video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, and do all that kind of stuff. And I want to give a special shout out to my patrons who help make the mini series possible. Be safe, have fun, stay dirty. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.